These days, every job is a technology job. Whether you're a programmer, a marketer, or even just someone who sits down in front of a computer every day, you have a stake in the tapestry of the technology industry. Welcome to Wits and Wisdom, a podcast sharing insights, innovations, and inspiration from the award-winning Women in Tech Summit. Join host Gloria Bell, founder of the Women in Tech Summit, multi-hyphenate entrepreneur, and advocate for equity and equality in tech as she sits down with extraordinary guests from the WITS community. Listen in as they discuss wisdom from their career journeys, pro tips from their areas of expertise, and sneak previews of the biggest upcoming tech trends. This is Wits and Wisdom, a podcast from the Women in Tech Summit and Inspiring Tech Foundation.
Hello, and welcome to Wits and Wisdom, a podcast sharing insights, innovation, and inspiration from the award-winning Women in Tech Summit. I'm your host, Gloria Bell, founder of WITS and the Inspiring Tech Foundation. Today, we're welcoming back Pamela Sams, first-time speaker here at WITS Mid-Atlantic, where we're recording live. And Pamela is the winner of the 5-Star Wealth Management Award and BFA, CRPC, and MBA Trusted Advisor for Professional Women. Welcome back, Pamela.
Thanks for having me back, Gloria.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your career journey, and then we're also going to talk a little bit around the tech side and around your talk. But you've made it your mission to help professional women. I love this. Help professional women sleep well at night. I love that. Lord knows I could use some help with that. You named a method after it? Tell us a little more about that.
The method is called the SWAN method, which is an acronym for Sleep Well at Night. Myself and my marketing person came up with it a few years back because what I found out working with anybody, but women particularly, finances keep people up at night. And when I started my practice and primarily focused on professional women, I would get email messages, timestamped, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Though I would not answer them during that time of the night.
That's good.
I would see them in the morning, and that meant that they were not sleeping well at night. They were up thinking about their finances. So with working together with my clients and with their finances, really to understand where they are and they're going to be okay, they were able to sleep well at night. So I decided to name my method the SWAN method. People who become clients, particularly my women clients, I call them my financial swans because it's an acronym, but it's also a metaphor and really transforming what I call ugly duckling financial situations into beautiful financial swans. So everybody becomes a financial swan. I actually do give them out a little glass swan that they can keep on their nightstand to really remind them of the work that we're doing and they're able to sleep well at night.
So they can sit and look at the swan and realize you've helped them get everything under control, and now they can rest easy. I love that. That is fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your career journey. Like, how did you get to where you are?
That is quite interesting. So I have a MBA in financial management, but prior to that, my undergraduate degree is actually in marketing and advertising. And then I went back to school thinking it was going to be the same, and then fell in love with the finance classes and got an MBA in financial management, thinking I was going to go into, the Wall Street and do all of the illustrious investment banking and all of that sort of thing. Then I had 2 kids back to back in graduate school, believe it or not, figuring 80-hour work weeks was not going to happen with 2 young children. And so I took a sabbatical for a while just to figure out what my next best step would be. And unfortunately, my father became ill and passed away, leaving my mother a widow after 50 years of marriage, really trying to understand finances on our own, coming from a household where men took care of most of the household finances. She was a little bit at a loss, so I was able to, with my financial MBA management degree, was able to help her navigate the waters. And so I figured there were other women similar to my mother who was in a situation where they needed to help with their finances. So I hung out my shingle in 2002 with clearly the mission to help women secure their financial future so they can sleep well at night. So most of my clients are single by choice, divorced, and widow women.
Okay. So where did the tech start to figure in with it? Like, at what point did you start realizing that technology could be a piece of this?
Yeah, so in my talk, I do talk about being a techie. My journey started actually in 1973. My mother used to be a data entry specialist for the Record Center in St. Louis for military personnel. She would take me to work often at night because that's when she did most of the work. That was the old IBM 940s and the punch cards and all of those sort of things. And I loved to see the big mainframes. It was just so fascinating to me. And then after that, I just kind of fell in love with tech. So from there, it was I learned how to code and do Pascal when I was in college and learned a computer language. The advent of the internet brought me to a career. Like I said, I had marketing and advertising experience, so I did graphic design for NASA for a little bit, coding in HTML. And then, like I said, MBA in financial management from there. So I've always kept tech at my heart whenever I do anything in my career. So I find all of the latest tools and gadgets, so to speak, that enhances my career. My husband calls me the tech gadget or the tech gal, gadget gal all the time, because whatever is new and innovative, that's where I want to be.
Sounds like you found a great way to kind of marry the things that you are most passionate about. You mentioning the mainframes, we come from a very similar place, because my father got his master's degree in data processing about the same time. And I remember walking in those rooms and being fascinated by this big computer that took up a whole room.
Exactly.
And then eventually learning to code myself on punch cards. I love hearing other women that came from that same love for tech at that same kind of place. It's nice to know we share that.
Yes.
So you found this way to bring this interest in technology, this interest in finance, and this passion for helping women all together. In all of that, what skills from any or all of those do you think have kind of served you best to get you to where you are?
Well, with helping with women, of course, you have to have a sense of empathy and compassion. A lot of the work that I do, I volunteer my time at the Women's Center in Vienna, and it's a place where women go in transition. So a lot of them are coming from places of vulnerability. So really having somebody to partner with, to able to understand their journey and being a human. That's what I tell people. A lot of times in the finance world, it's all about numbers and data, but you have to show compassion and be a people person. That's what financial services is all about initially. Of course, everything else comes with the numbers and the information, but when you're sitting across from someone, to tell them that it's going to be okay, they're able to retire, or a person who's just lost their spouse or have gone through a divorce, they want to know that you're a person and that you care about them. So having that as a skill really has leverage to really work in that area with the women. I get a lot of referrals, opportunities to speak with women organizations based on that. So really just being a human person and showing compassion.
I think it's probably a skill that, especially in the financial world, maybe not enough people are looking for. So I can understand why you've been successful. Is there a particular moment where you realized that being able to merge those interests that you had in tech and in finance, was there an aha moment for you where you're like, this is giving me a little bit of a leg up?
Coming from that techie at heart, so to speak, I've always been on the lookout for things that would be able to enhance what I can do for my clients and also enhance their information as well. So I just bought on a new tool called Elements, which is more of a financial monitoring tool. So some of my women have troubles just on the day-to-day with budgeting, and it's not so much of looking in the future. It's really, what do I do now? How do I budget? How do I pay my bills? What do I look like from a standpoint from the day-to-day? So I always look for tools that I can introduce, not only enhance my practice, but also help my clients as well through their journey with their finances.
I think we all could use a little help with that. I know I could personally, so may have to check that out. So what's next? Where do you see yourself heading next?
In my talk, I talked about metaverse and virtual reality. So I've been dabbling around with that. I have a few colleagues that have talked a lot about what the future of financial advice and what the future of financial advisors may look like. And it may be in a virtual situation. So I have been exploring VR. I bought an Oculus back for Christmas and been playing, and my sons and my husband's probably like, every day, what are you doing in there? I'm exploring different immersive worlds and things like that. And like I said, some of my colleagues have been prospecting, meeting clients, selling real estate. It's a whole new world of opportunities in there. So I want to explore that a little bit more.
Again, finding that perfect way to merge that tech side of you with the finance world. I love it. So I don't know if you heard my talk earlier today when I was talking about who is a woman in tech. And I'm very adamant about the fact that you don't just have to write code to be a woman in tech, that if you're working in the tech industry, you're working with technology. So would you consider yourself a woman in tech because you've so clearly integrated technology into what you do?
I would, actually. I'm a financial advisor first and foremost, but I can definitely see myself as a woman in tech with the introduction of some of the tech tools that I use. I am very strict with my tech stack that I do provide for my clients. Again, like I said, bringing to enhance myself and them. So yeah, I think I would consider that.
So, Pamela, because you have such great advice and such a great program for professional women, and that's who a lot of our listeners are, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Yes, they can contact me on social media. I'm represented there on Twitter at Jackson Sams WS because they limit the characters there. And then on Instagram and Facebook at Jackson Sams Wealth, and they can follow me there. And LinkedIn, I am Pamela Sams, Pamela J. Sams, and they'll be able to reach me there and connect on LinkedIn.
Okay, and what is the full name of your company?
The full name of my company is Jackson Sams Wealth Strategies. Some people think it's two people, it's just one. Jackson is my maiden name, and just to kind of go back to how I got in financial services, because of my dad's passing, I really wanted to keep the Jackson to honor my dad. So that's why I'm Jackson Sams Wealth Strategies.
Oh, that's fantastic. So they can Google you and they can find your company and contact you there too.
Yes, they can.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pamela, for joining us. Thank you to our listeners for joining us at this live edition of Wits and Wisdom here at WITS Mid-Atlantic. We encourage you to visit womenintechsummit.com and check out the rest of our 2023 programming. You can join us at one of our upcoming summits, our virtual summit, or in Raleigh, and we hope to see you in person at one of those events, or we hope to see you at the next episode of Wits and Wisdom. Thank you all for joining us.
Ready to learn more about the Women in Tech Summit? Visit our website at womenintechsummit.net. That's womenintechsummit.net to view our most up-to-date event schedules, calls for speakers, and sponsorship opportunities. If you enjoyed this episode, bookmark the show, give us a follow, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us educate, inspire, and connect with even more movers and shakers within and beyond the technology industry. Thanks for listening, and see you here again soon on Wits and Wisdom, a podcast from the Women in Tech Summit and the Inspiring Tech Foundation.